All right, and we are now live. Hopefully some people will join in here soon. I'm going to quickly set it to live chat. At the moment, I've got the Go Transit unit with the Bombardier bi-levels running, as well as a BNSF mixed freight on the inner circuit. If you haven't seen it, in my most recent video, I made some major upgrades to the layout over here, so I'm going to be doing kind of some endurance testing on the layout. So I'm sure there are going to be requests for different locomotives, and there's no way to test out the track better than running everything. So we'll see how all of that goes. Anyway, we've already got about 10 people in here. Soul of the Mind, hello. Owl in the Flower, hello. A whole bunch of people joining in. Can you run the Freedom train? Yeah, we can try to do that. That's probably one of the most sensitive trains to run, so if that thing can get through this layout without derailing, things are going to be looking very good for it. In the aviation dude, welcome. Vince Stratora, hi, I'm new to the channel. I just subscribed recently and I was thinking about getting into HO scale trains. Well, I highly recommend it. I did a video a while back about the best and worst starter sets, so you can watch that if you want a bit more information on my opinions. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be this big daunting task. I know a lot of people are kind of, intimidated to get into the hobby, but it doesn't have to be too complicated. Hey, SMT, I have a layout. I was wondering, how do you lay down ballast? I touched on that briefly in the layout construction video, but in short, you just kind of sprinkle it down the middle and a bit on the sides. You run a paintbrush over it to spread it out, and then once you've done that, you tap the track and it will all fall into place. And then you spray it down with some watered down dish soap, then put glue over top. And the dish soap acts as sort of like an emulsifier, like it allows the glue to flow into the ballast. Can you run your rarest Tyco locomotive? Yeah, I think we can make that happen. I'm going to run the American Freedom train first, but I have one Tyco locomotive in mind. I'll actually go grab it right now so I don't forget. What happened to your grandmother's Flying Scotsman? It's funny you should say. Recently, I've actually gotten back into trying to fix up all of her old trains. So nothing's happened to it. It's just been sitting. But yesterday, I actually had it opened up and I was assessing the damage to figure out what I need to get in terms of parts. The good news is that it's an old Trix twin railway locomotive, which, as I found out, those are not very rare. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm probably going to buy a junked locomotive, take the parts off of that, and then fix it up, because I think it would be really nice to get all of her childhood trains running once again. I actually am in the process of trying to order parts too, because a lot of people might know about the Hiawatha belonging to her, but she actually had two Atlantic locomotives. She had a second German Atlantic locomotive, and as it turns out, there's a store in Italy which sells Rivarossi parts, so I'm just working out the details on ordering parts. I guess they have to custom manufacture them, but yeah, hopefully I can get all of her childhood trains back up and running again. Is NerfCat doing okay? Is he receiving sufficient pets? I think so. I mean, if he doesn't get what he wants, he'll let you know. That's for sure. My plan is to build a model train layout when I get settled into my new house. Well, I'm sure that will be exciting. SMT, what's the best HO scale company to buy from? I don't have a single favorite, but my top list would be Athearn, Atlas, Kato, Rapido. Yeah, of course the old Athearns, like the old blue boxes. I'm probably missing a few, but that's what comes to mind. Oh, Walters, yeah. Really like the Walters train line stuff. It's pretty affordable for what you get, in my opinion. This BNSF engine's a Walters train line unit, and so far I've been very happy with it. Talking about German trains, would you run some of them tonight? Yeah, absolutely. Let me go get the Freedom train. We'll get that on the main line, and then afterwards we'll run the Tycho. And it's a couple... there's one German train which I think everyone's going to like. I got it for free from a model train club, so... yeah, it'll be interesting. Respect to Kato. Yeah, Kato makes pretty good products in my opinion. I mean, they're, you know, predominantly N scale, but I will say for their HO stuff, there hasn't been anything I've been disappointed with so far. I actually had a Kato-9 fall off the layout a couple months ago, and it did some cosmetic damage. I had to glue some stuff back on it, but the drive survived. It was still running, so, you know, got to give credit where credit is due. Are you planning on attaching your new layout to your big layout? Where are you planning on putting it? Oh, well, the layout project that I've been working on for the last few months, that was never for me. It was for a family friend's son, and that's been delivered. I think I delivered it about maybe a month ago. I didn't film any of that because, you know, I don't know if the guy's comfortable with his house being included in, you know, one of my videos, but he did send me a picture of his kids running the trains on it, and they looked like they were having a lot of fun, which is great. And another buddy of mine, I reached out to him to see if he wanted me to build a layout for his son. So there's going to be another layout build series at some point in the new year. I'm still getting parts for that, but the second one is going to be focusing on building a layout in a compact space, which I think is going to be an interesting topic. I got a lot of people reaching out to me saying that, you know, they really want to build a layout, but they don't have much room. So this is going to be something ideal for people with, you know, apartments or smaller houses. SMT, have you ever been on a real GO train before? How did you like it? I think I was on one once, but it would have been in about 2006, so I was like 5 years old. We used to have some friends in Toronto, so when I'd go to see them, we'd travel around. So I think I went on one once, but the recollection's kind of vague. I really hope this thing works. I've been putting so much effort into trying to turn it into something that is actually useful. Switch this over to 0, then I can also run the freighter here. Uh-oh. It's already derailed. I'm going to see if it re-rails itself. Nope. Oh, actually it did. That's weird. That looked like it was becoming catastrophic. For cripe's sakes. Try running it in the other direction. Maybe that would work. I just don't find these Bachmann steamers can stay on the track. It's not even the locomotive that's derailing, it's the tender because of all these wires. Worst spot. Yeah, of course. It stops in the place that's hard to reach. Whatever happened to your cursed train? Well, I don't know which one you're talking about because there have been a few on the channel, but if I assume it's the one I worked on recently, I still have it. I'm not sure what I want to do with it. It's a pretty jacked locomotive. Somebody pointed out that it actually looks like a famous Western and Maryland locomotive, so I'm thinking about repainting it into that and sort of disguising an irregular locomotive as a normal one, but then that kind of defeats the point of having an unusual engine, so I don't know if it's a good idea. Okay, let's see if it rocks and rolls a little better this way. When are you going to announce the winners of the Rapido locomotives? Very soon. I actually had to order a replacement because one of the engines which I intend to give away was having a lot of problems. It starts just fine, but I have to like neutral drop it from DC. And then once you do that, it seems to work fine on DCC, but either way, I don't like how it's inconsistent. So I just decided to go online and order a new unit. So I'll be announcing the giveaway for that. And another engine very, very soon. I did a video in New York. I think I'm going to tack it onto the back of that. How old were you when you took apart your first train? I was 10 years old. Have you ever heard of the graveyard in Vermont? It had 2 old wooden box cars and a bunch of Aerostock Valley 44 tonners. I don't know if I have. Do you know what the smoke fluid is best to buy inexpensively? I just got a Tyco Royal Blue and it has a smoke unit. I don't know very much about smoke fluid, so I can't really say. I would check to make sure the smoke unit in that engine's still working though, because those fail pretty often. Maybe try adding some weight to the tender. I think some viewers sent you some weights. Yeah, that's an option. I added some weight to the Locomotive, which I also unfortunately broke the headlight in the process, but that seems to have helped it a little bit. I have a Bachmann chassis system locomotive, and when I run it, it makes a massive vibration sound. It sounds like either the gears are slipping or the motor's loose. What's your favorite steam engine you've ridden behind? The only steam engine I've ever actually seen operational and been in is the E2, which used to be part of the HCW railway. I've seen lots of other steam engines, but only on static display. So it's that one. What brand would you expect to be best for rolling stock looking to making a switching layout for a freight yard? All the modern brands are pretty good. I mean, everything is expensive, but yeah, I think anything from Athearn, Atlas, Walters, Rapido, it's all going to be pretty solid. I mean, the main thing is to check the coupler heights, and another thing I find a lot of people don't talk about is make sure that the trucks are not screwed in too tight, because the trucks need to be able to pivot a little bit for the track, and I've had several cars arrive from the factory and the screws are too tight, so you just back them up a couple turns and that will usually help them. SMT, would you ever make a gaming video on train sim? I did one years ago with my Railworks controller. I don't know if I'm ever going to do another one, but it's an option. I can't seem to find... Oh, here it is. Did you get your silver play button from YouTube? Yes, I got my play button. I haven't unboxed it yet because I wanted it to be part of a special video, but I think I'm just going to end up opening it. I really want to throw it on the shelf there. I'll probably still film the unboxing of it, but... Anyways, what brand... Okay, I already read that comment. Can you give us a closer trackside shot? Yeah, sure. Mike Grappone, thank you. Great layout. Thanks for streaming. Thank you for the super chat. And then I'd recommend, Texas Modeler says they recommend either Scale Trains, Rapido, or Atlas. So there you go. Hey, SMT, I bought a Scale Trains operator DCC sound locomotive, and when I put it on DCC, the decoder buzzes. I mean, maybe if it's not sound equipped, that to me sounds like it's got a problem, but you could contact them, see what they say about that. I've never heard of a decoder making a sound, but that doesn't seem like a good thing. Hello SMT, what's the best way to ballast track without having a huge mess? I don't know if that's possible. As I was saying earlier, just lay a bit out. Do a little at a time. That's probably the best thing. Spread it out with a brush, tap the track to get it to fall into place, spray it down, and glue it. So if you don't glue your ballast down, it will cause problems. Do you have any Markland train sets? I have one and wanted to give it to you. Well, I run DC or, you know, 2-rail tracks, so I can't really operate much, but it's funny you say, because earlier today, I was messing around with this thing. I bought this at a train show years ago, and maybe it's not going to run for us now, but earlier... Oh, power lead isn't connected. There we go. Still not working. Yeah, I was messing around with this thing earlier, and apparently it runs. Something's wrong with the reversing unit. It seems to be jammed, but it still operates. SMT, please run the Australian national locomotives. I'd love to see it. I have V-line locomotives, but I don't think I have any national rail. Well, I don't have any unboxed. I actually do have one, but that's gonna be part of a video. What happened to the headlight on the American Freedom train? I don't know. I was doing work on it, and I tried to add a weight, and I don't know if I either plucked one of the wires out of the headlight, or I also had some wires on the tender pop out, and I got them back in, but afterwards the headlight wasn't working. So one of those two things I did messed it up. Are Markland locomotives AC power? Most of them are. It's possible they have some DC stuff, but yeah, the majority of the ones I've seen are all AC. Do you have any Fratelli Brazilian locomotives? Yes, I have an AC 44i. When's your next unboxing? I'm going to try to do one soon. It's been a long time. I've received quite a few boxes from viewers, and I also have quite a few things I've ordered which I want to open up. Time's just really been of the essence lately. I've been doing a ton of upgrades, not just to the layout, but also to the basement. This is all soundproofing insulation, which I've been adding over the last few days. Adding a layer of foam here to soundproof that, which means I also have to redo the lighting. So there's a lot happening at the moment, but I do want to kind of get back into the swing of things, start doing more live streams, and hopefully make some more content too. What brand of switches do you prefer? I think I see some Pico ones on your layout. Yeah, I prefer the Pico switches. The Atlas ones are okay. The only two problems I've had with them are that they are not as good with British rolling stock with larger flanges, and the ones that have the plastic frogs actually wear down over time and start to have issues. So, SMT, do you have a bank on the layout? This building right here is a bank, yes. How much in total do you think your entire collection and layout costs? Would you ever sell to buy more? Well, I sell off some of the junked engines I buy off eBay and fix up, but I wouldn't want to sell this layout to build a new one, no. I don't know what it's worth. The amount of money that's been invested into everything here is probably into the thousands of dollars over the years, but it's also hard to tell because, you know, inflation has really gripped the hobby. The prices of things have skyrocketed, and back when a lot of this was being added on in the 2000s, things were way cheaper. So, yeah, it's a little vague. I've been watching the channel for a while. I'm addicted to it at the moment. I have to say, as a person who likes this kind of hobby, your content's very good. Well, I appreciate hearing that. I do put effort into trying to make, you know, entertaining videos. And you know, sometimes things don't go well, but I do try. I think that derailed. Uh-oh. Okay, well, maybe that's a sign to swap that train out. Do I see a mummy in the background? Yeah, I've got 2 of those, and also a couple knights. I don't know why, but my family takes Halloween very seriously. It's always just sort of been a big deal in this house. I like it though. Anyways, let's I'm gonna go fix that derailment. We'll get this out, put the special Tyco locomotive on, and then I said I was gonna run something after that. I think I said I was gonna run a German engine, but there's probably another request amongst that. All right, derailment solved. It makes sense. I thought it was real for some reason. I mean, well, I was gonna say it'd be cool if it was real, but I think in reality that would just be creepy having a mummy in the basement. I don't know about that. I think a lot of people would probably wonder where I acquired such a thing too. What's the cheapest engine that you've bought? The cheapest engine I bought in working order was an old AHM. I paid $3 for it. It was at an old antique shop, and I needed to clean the wheels on that, but I mean, that's pretty general maintenance. All right, let's see if the old Tyco Sweetheart will pull these cars. I have a track that is about 1.5 inches. What scale is it? 1.5 inches. That sounds like O scale to me. I guess it could also be S scale. Uh-oh. Okay, so the Tyco engine's gone a bit Tweety Bird, so I'm gonna try taking some weight off it and see if we can get it to do a lap. This thing makes no sense. You reduce the weight and it doesn't even work. Okay, I think that's gonna be it for the Tyco for today. But anyways, that is my rarest Tyco locomotive. I just ordered an Aisho Skill GT snow spreader plow. Always wanted one because our mill used to have one. That's pretty cool. I've seen a snow spreader. They have one at the rail yard in Smith Falls, Ontario. All right, I said I was gonna run a German locomotive, steam locomotive, and I don't think this engine's been shown on the channel before, so I guess this will be the first live run of it. So here it is. I don't know very much about it, but it does run. I'll just run it for a single lap because it does have a foreign coupler, so I can't actually hook it up to any cars. What's your favorite regional Class 1 company? Canadian National. It's a pretty one. Love the red wheels. Somebody was telling me recently that the reason the German and Chinese steam locomotives had red wheels was because I guess it made it a little bit easier to spot cracking and defects before there was catastrophic failure. I don't know how big a difference it made, because I know the British, the Canadians, and the American steam engines didn't, and I'm not aware of too many major incidents that have been caused because of that, so I don't think it was too big an issue, but yeah, it's just something interesting. SMT, if you get Walter's stuff, don't change the couplers. I bought 2 Walters cars and tried changing the coupler and the box broke. That's unfortunate. Uh-oh. What's your favorite American locomotive? Either the American Freedom Train, the GS4, or the Hiawatha. I really like the operating lamps on this one. Alright, so I think that covers off the request for now. There might have been one more, but I can't remember what it is, but I'll take any other requests. Do you like geography? I do like geography. Always been fascinated by it, and I'm always looking on Google Maps. I sometimes just go exploring on Google Maps and just, I don't know, figure out where different railroads connect and where different roads go and stuff. It is interesting. Can you run the Asian RJ Corman steam locomotive? Yeah, absolutely. I lose too much time on Google Maps. Yeah, Google Maps is a lot of fun. I also really like Street View. I love going on Street View and setting the date back and just seeing how things looked, 15 years ago. It can be really easy to lose perspective on how different, your neighborhood used to look, or, you name it. Do you recommend Kato? I recommend Kato. I find they make pretty good products. Just ordered a Broadway Limited GS4 Freedom locomotive. They're one of my favorites. I'm kind of tempted to order one of those myself. I don't know Broadway Limited as well, but if I could get something a little bit more reliable than my Bachmann ones, it might be nice. Get the sound system going here. Thank you for the super chat, Sean H. I heard you've been learning about the RJ Corman Railroad. Yeah, I've been doing research on them. I find the history of RJ Corman and Rick Corman in particular very fascinating. Just, true success, rags to riches story. So I'm digging into that. I would like to get an RJ Corman diesel to go with this thing, but pretty happy with this for now. Try to see if I can get the smoke unit working. The other day it seemed to be broken. Realistic chuff. Yeah, it's not bad. The sound is pretty loud, which I quite like. The nice one we had was a lumber mill up in the woods out of town. At least the locomotive and caboose are still there. I used to live next to the tracks in Bathurst, New Brunswick. Might be findable on Google. When the Canadian Pacific Kansas City merger is accepted by the United States government, you should get a Canadian Pacific KC locomotive. I'm open to that, yeah. You need another person to help you run your trains. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Hey, some tea, that's kind of does not sound right for how wide my track is. Figuring out, I'm still trying to see what scale my train is. I'm guessing it's S scale. There is a scale which Lionel produced, which I think is just slightly larger than O. I can't remember what it is. I don't think it's G. Your channel got my boys into model railroading. I got them an Athearn set for Christmas and already built a farm layout from it. That's awesome. Athearn sets are really good too. That's a good way to get started. Hey, SMT, I got a few log dumping flat cars. If you had something like a log area on your layout, I think you get a log dumping flat car to go with it. I mean, that would be cool. The closest thing I have is this little lumber yard over here. I don't know if I could fit a straight piece long enough for a log dumping car. It would be a cool feature to have. Can you run your QJ210 too? Yeah, absolutely. Lionel gauge is standard gauge if I'm right. Yeah, I mean, Lionel has their standard gauge. I mean, most model trains are standard gauge. There is, like, you know, HON30 and ON30. There's a whole bunch of different scales where they use the standard gauge from another scale to represent narrow gauge, but I don't know. Gauge and scale get confused a lot. Like, I hear a lot of people calling... you know, say like, oh, I've got an HO gauge layout, or I've got an O gauge layout. And yeah, people want to use that to refer to that. I don't really care, but I don't think it's correct, because the gauge is, you know, a distance between two rails. So, you know, you could say I have an HO standard gauge layout, but, you know, if you run narrow gauge on your HO layout, you haven't changed the scale, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think the smoke unit on this thing has unfortunately gone kaput, which is kind of disappointing, because this thing cost an arm and a leg, but at least as long as it stays running, I'll be happy. Where'd you get the QJ? I bought it off eBay. I had to import the locomotive from China, just like RJ Corman did. Probably needs smoke unit smoke fluid for it. Well, I put some in it a couple days ago, and then that's when it stopped working, so I just figured I had maybe added too much, but then I ran it for like a half hour and it didn't do anything. So yeah, I think either something is fried on it or I messed something up. Gonna go get a snack. Any recommendations? Maybe some Oreos. Could be airlocked. Yeah, that's possible. What's the next video coming up? I think it's gonna be a trip to New York City to go look for trains. That or an unboxing, we'll see. I would also like to do a repair at some point soon, but I don't have anything in particular in mind. My worst locomotive is a Union Pacific high hood, missing motor and drives. There's also a lot of rust over it. It's my oldest locomotive. Not lost hope. Well, yeah, I mean, sourcing a motor is not necessarily the worst thing, and if you soak the metal parts in vinegar and then stick those parts in water with baking soda, you can usually remove rust pretty easily. Will you be making any N-scale videos? Yeah, that would be a good thing. It's not my main priority, but yeah, there is going to be more N-scale content coming this year. Maybe try resetting the decoder. Well, the thing is, I can hear the pulse system, like I can hear the thing which pumps the air working. There's just nothing, you know, coming out of it, so I don't know what's going on. Have you visited the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum? I've been to Steamtown and the Trolley Museum across from Steamtown, but that's the only railroad museum in Pennsylvania I've ever been to. Harrison, do you know anything about trawler auto pulse controllers? I don't think I've ever heard of that. Can you run the Province and Worcester locomotive? Yeah, we can definitely make that happen. Let me go find it. It was on the industrial layout recently, but then before I did the track work, I moved it so I wouldn't damage it. So I'm just trying to remember where I put it into storage. It must be on, it's probably on this shelf. Let's see it on the top layer. Every time I start to reorganize stuff, oh, here it is. Yeah, every time I reorganize stuff, I can't find it. What NYC train store are you thinking about going to? Well, I've already been there. I went to a place called the Yellow Caboose, and then after that we went to Grand Central Station. So it's just going to be kind of like a trip video. I think I'm going to call it something like looking for trains in New York. So going to a train shop, looking for, you know, different things, and then going to Grand Central Station, walking around, just seeing what kinds of trains are there. I was really amazed because back in 2013, my family was there, and I actually saw a Heritage unit. It looked exactly like that one right there. It was one of the New Haven units. And on my visit recently, I saw the same one again. I couldn't believe it. There it was. It was at a different platform, but yeah, same locomotive 10 years later. An adventure in New York. Can you run the Kool-Aid locomotive? I haven't seen it in forever. Yeah, we can make that happen. After you're done running things requested, can you run the Hiawatha with some coaches behind it? I'll run the Fox Valley Hiawatha. I only run the Rivarossi on occasion, though. Wow, this thing has great lighting. Chris and Dom in the house. Harrison, hello from Michigan. Welcome. The Trawler Auto Pulse power packs are from the 70s. Electric circuitry allows for better slow speed operation. Huh, that's interesting. Did you delete your crash cinematic? Was that the video where the Via train popped off the track and went flying into that building? I might have taken that video down. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason at the time, I decided to include a prank call I was having with some scammer, and I don't know why I did that at the time, but I was watching it, and I just thought it looked kind of unprofessional. You have two loops on separate power. Right now they're on the same circuit, but I've electrically isolated them from each other, so there's just one wire feeding the inner circuit. So my plan is to kind of redo the electrical system for that. That way I can run DC on one track and DCC on the other, but also be able to toggle between them. I re-uploaded it. Just kidding. SMT is a scam baiter now. Well, this was like, I don't know, 5 years ago. Anyways, I'll get the Kool-Aid locomotive ready to go. I had a vintage Amtrak passenger car. I left it alone and somebody played with it like a toy and it broke. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I had that happen once with my Amtrak Acela. Somebody picked it up and threw it at a shelf. That was interesting. It did survive that though. The Hiawatha is easily one of my all-time favorite steam locomotives. The Midwest Hiawatha actually ran within 100 miles from me. The Midwest Hiawatha is the one that ran in Iowa, by the way. How are the Walters GP15s doing? Pretty well. I mean, I'm actually running one right now. I know it keeps stuttering, but that's due to the track, not the locomotive. Scammer gets scammed. Yeah, I do enjoy watching those videos. There's this guy, Kiboga, and he uses some sort of a soundboard to make his voice sound different. So he has a variety of characters, but his most common one is this old woman named Edna. And it's so funny, the adventures he manages to bring the scammers on. There's this one video he did where, you know, the scammers are trying to get her to drive to a store to buy gift cards for this, you know, so they can launder the money. And on the way there, she tells the scammer that, you know, since she's on the phone with him, she can't put on the radio, but she'd really enjoy some music to make the drive more enjoyable. So he manages to get the scammer to start singing all sorts of different songs, like Careless Whisper. Is so damn funny. Do you have a CNSD 40 5075? That was in Walmart stores in the 90s. I mean the cheap one, but mine's still going. I don't think I do, no. Do you have a girlfriend? Yes, I do. Will you ever make a collection tour? Probably. I haven't done one of those videos in nearly 5 years, so it's about time to do another one. Should I do DCC? Depends what you're going to use it for. I mean, if you're going to be, you know, if you're going to add a switching yard to your layout, I would recommend it. Yeah, it all depends on what you want to use. Are you married? No, I'm not married. What happened to your Royal Hudson model? I still have it. Do you remember that steam locomotive that you built 2 or 3 years ago? Could you run it, please? Yeah, I don't know where that's in storage, but I definitely still have it. I'm gonna try to switch it into DC here. Ha! Just set to the same direction. What's your girlfriend's name? Chloe. Hello, SMT. I'm from nearby Ottawa, right next to the Ottawa Central Railroad Yard, just off Johnson Road. Yeah, Walkley Yard. Good old Walkley. I used to work around there, and I'd go train spotting sometimes. I mean, there's not much to see. The rail activity is pretty quiet these days. I think they have like 1 train a week, but occasionally you'd see them moving cars in the yard. Anyway, I'll get this. Switched up. There we go. How do you make your crossings? You can buy kits for them. Oh, if you're talking about the road, that's probably what you meant. Yeah, I just use drywall filler. Just kind of paste that onto the track, carve out the grooves once it's dry, and then paint it. Usually takes some trial and error to get it going right, but it does work. I don't know why this derailed. That's kind of concerning. Have you ever been on a Shinkansen in Japan? No, I've never been to Japan. I think the furthest I've ever been away from Canada is France. Yeah, I think that's as far as I've gone. I don't know why this thing's having so many problems. Does your sound power pack work? It is operational. I just need to rewire it to the layout. Oh, looks like we got a super chat. Sean H, my son Clayton is really loving finally catching a live stream. Thanks for getting us into the hobby. Request for challenge. Get one if you have one. Get one if you have one. I don't understand the question, but thank you for the super chat. Get one if you have one. I'm a bit dyslexic, so sometimes I don't read things right. Yeah, sorry, I don't understand it. Have you ever been to San Diego? I've definitely been around there. My uncles used to live in Los Angeles. And when I was there in like 2013, we were driving around all over the place. Can you run the raunchy Rock Island diesel? Oh, the fast one? Yeah, sure. 110, I remember we had 5,000. It's amazing, yeah, just how far the channel's come, especially in the last year or so. Not sure where the Rock Island engine is. Can't be too far away. Can you run the Australian locomotive? Yeah, sure. Hopefully it will operate a little bit better on the new track. Even if it doesn't, I've got a second B-class on the way. And this one was kit bashed out of a Walters drive, so it should be pretty reliable. I'm really looking forward to adding that. I've got a whole bunch of boxes from Australia. I think I'm going to do one video, which is going to be an unboxing of just Australian packages. Does Chloe like model railroading? She's not into the hobby, but she's very supportive of it, which I like. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't seem to find the Rock Island 040. I don't know where... Oh, here it is. Maybe I'll try running this on the mountain layout. That would be fun. Can you run the Shikansen at full speed? It won't stay on the track. This thing goes so fast, it will tip over. Do you live with your mom and dad? Yes, I do. Whoops. That's not so good. I think Sean H. is referring to the Union Pacific Challenger. Oh, asking if I can run one. I do have one, but it's not in operating order. It's somewhere down there, I think. Yeah, it's somewhere in my storage bin. I will fix it up, but if you have anything else you want me to run, I'll definitely do so. I'm so proud of the famous the famous KFC. It's gotten a little bit of a facelift too recently. I added like some flower pots around it, and it's looking pretty deluxe, I think. Can you run the 86-year-old Yellowstone? Sure. Let me just catch up because I'm falling behind on some of the requests right now. SMT, do you know about the historic VHA in 2023? I know, I'm not sure what that is. Also, can you run the LRC because I see the cars on the track? Yeah, we can run the LRC. Let me just run some of these other requested trains first. Do you have any BNSF engines? I've got about 4 of them. I got a Dash 9, a Mac, and the GP15, as well as another Bachmann engine. I don't know why these are not coupling. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. What's the oldest locomotive you have? It might be the Yellowstone. I think that thing dates back to the 30s. The Hiawatha, I think, is from about 1951. The oldest engine I've ever worked on, I was over 100. I don't have it. It belonged to a friend of mine, but that was pretty cool to work on. It was a pre-war Lionel. What's the layout's town name? Dunderville. This section's Dunderville. The other one's, I mean, according to the sign right there, that section's Scranton, Pennsylvania. But yeah, a lot of it's not named. It all represents somewhere roughly, if that makes sense, though. Michael Blitz, Harrison, where did you get the plowed farm fields for your friend's layout, and who made it? I think it was made by Botch, and I bought it at my local hobby shop. I think you can find them online, though. I wish I had the name of the product, but I don't think they're rare. Yeah, this derailed, but the switch is still the same direction, so something's not right. Now that's derailed too. So I guess it's time to throw some different equipment on. Now, there were 2 requests. Let's see if I can remember them. 2 requests. One was for the... I want to say the 777, but I don't think that's right. Harrison, are you still friends with anybody from your videos from like 6 years ago in your old live streams? Oh yeah, I'm still friends with them, and as a matter of fact, in my most recent video going to Larkspur, I actually referenced my friend Nick's channel, so we were both there that day. He was the one who told me about the sale, and I've actually made some new friends through the hobby, because Nick met this guy named Liam. I guess they go to school together, and so he was over here a couple weeks ago when we were running some trains together. He actually dropped off this for me to repair, so expect to see a video about that. Now, requests. The LRC, that's right. Big boy on the mountain layout. I think I tried to do that once, and it lasted about 30 seconds before derailing. Whoop. These LRC cars need a bit of TLC. Do you have any suggestions for the name of the town? It can be anything. I've had my layout for 3.5 years, and the town has never had a name. I think I'm gonna take the Bombardier bi-levels. Somebody donated $100 in a super chat. What the heck? Let me find these. Robert Campbell. Well, there's no message attached, but thanks a bunch, man. That's ridiculously generous. And Chuck Walters, I've been watching your channel and learned a lot from you. It's about time I did a super chat. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Wow. Dunderville, the 86. Yeah, okay, the Yellowstone, the LRC. Pretty sure there's one more I'm still missing, but we'll get this running and then figure it out. My dad told me this time on Mr. Delmer in Iowa. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna read that comment. Do you like The Office? I'm a huge fan of The Office. I was watching The Office when it was still on the air. My parents were watching it, and I used to still watch it with them. It's one of the few shows I actually enjoyed watching, even as a kid. I mean, watching it years later, you notice a lot more of the jokes and stuff, but I was always a big fan of Dwight's antics. Oh, okay, that's why this derailed. I lost a wheel somewhere. Okay, I guess it's going to be a 2-car train. Dwight's Trans Am is sweet. It is a cool car. I'm about to crush a Tyco locomotive because of those dang springs on the motor. Yeah, I understand that. I've been there a couple times. Those things are such a pain in the neck to get back in place. On most locomotives, the metal plates are easy to remove. I don't know why Tyco decided to use clips instead. Maybe when the plastic was brand new in the 70s, it worked a little better, but it does not make them enjoyable things to work on. There we go. Let's see if I can get to those bi-levels before the train does. That worked well. Do you have any Saab automobiles on your layout? It's possible. They would probably be at the Hershey's factory. As far as vehicles go, I think probably the most common one is the Chevy Caprice. I've got at least 4 on the layout. You should collect the Thomas and Friends Bachmann engines. I'm not really interested in buying those. I mean, I have nothing against Thomas. I just don't really feel the need to add it onto the layout. Do you have any Barnum and Bailey locomotives? I always wanted to see a scale model after I saw it about 8 years ago. I don't own any. It's funny you say that. I was browsing eBay this morning and I actually saw a Barnum and Bailey steam locomotive for sale. I don't know if that's something somebody custom made, but it looked pretty interesting. Hello, Harrison. Have you ever been to Houston, Texas, and do you still have your Lehigh Valley locomotive? The Lehigh Valley engine, I definitely didn't get rid of it. I don't know where it is right now, but I have it. And I've never been to Texas. No, it's a place I'd love to visit. Bachmann just announced new Barnum and Bailey products. Funny enough, huh? We're in the Royal Hudson. Okay, let me get some of the ones that I said I was gonna run. All right, so get the old coffee grinder on in just a moment here. I wish you had seen a bit earlier when I said I had the Go cars going. I noticed you had a Go F unit available. Yeah. Yeah, this one right here. I've had this thing for eons. I got it as a birthday gift from my grandparents a long, long time ago. Since your Challenger's out of commission. Oh. Yes, the Yellowstone. You should add a small airstrip / airport. If I had the space, I certainly would. Thanks, cool stuff. I'm working on a 4x8 layout at the moment. Your 4x8 inspired me to start my own. Thanks for helping me along the journey. Oh, that's good to hear. How's Nerfcat doing? Oh, he's doing just fine. He's not getting any younger, but that has not taken the fight out of him, that's for sure. What was your first ever engine? It was a lifelike diesel of some sort, Canadian National. I don't know what kind it is. I should try to run it later on. I'm part of it, I don't know where. There's a train club in Kokomo, Indiana. And on Sundays I have a free. Having a train club in Kokomo, that would be great. You know, you could just say, oh, well, where's your happy place? Oh, I just have to go down to Kokomo. You should end the video by lighting off a firecracker in the basement. Scare the crap out of everyone in your house. Yeah, they'd love me for that. Harrison, have you ever seen the show Brian May's Toy Stories? I think it was James May, but yeah, I have seen his Toy Stories. Those were amazing. He did one on model trains. The very first one did not go that well, but in 2011 he did a repeat where he rebuilt a railway which had been ripped up in HO scale, and then he actually raced the Germans who were from Wonderland, which is the world's largest model railway, and yeah, it was a really cool video. I remember seeing that as a kid, and really enjoyed watching that. Anyways, I'll take this off and see if I can try to run the 86-year-old Varney locomotive. This was operating last time. But I warn you all now, put your earplugs in, because it does tend to be a little noisy. Hey, SMT Nice Beach Boys reference. Also, could you run the worst locomotive and the worst rolling stock and see how far it goes? I don't know about the worst rolling stock, but I can definitely go dig through for the worst locomotive. Oh, whoops, I guess there was still power in the track. Well, it doesn't sound very happy, but it's doing it. James May seems like a fun guy, very good host for shows. Yeah, he's a pretty unique guy, and I thought his dynamic with Hammond and Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear was great too, because he was kind of the more evenly keeled one of the two. Well, look who it is. Yeah. You have anything you want to say to the viewers there, Kat? The worst loco will probably go to Tycho. Yeah, I mean, the power torque drive was not a great design. Sounds like something just freed up in there. I think it's running better. Yeah, let me go find the worst engine. Uh-oh. That sounds bad. Yeah, okay, so the front truck derailed, and I might have just spun the drive over on it, but that's okay. Have you ever been to Iowa? I have not been to Iowa so far. Now, as for bad locomotives, I've got one which I think is really special here. I've run this a couple times before, but all the handrails are gone. I mean, most of the engine is gone. It does still run, though. Hi, Harrison. It's me, Jacob. My grandma and grandfather are coming over tomorrow. She likes trains because her brother had a train. He'd never let her touch it. Yeah, so with a little bit of maintenance, this junker still actually runs pretty well. Do you have any O-scale stuff? Yeah, right down there I got some O-scale. A model railroader with an interest in aviation should consider a heliport. You don't need to model a runway. I mean, a runway would be nice. It's just, yeah, if you wanted to build it to scale, that would take up an insane amount of space. I think the best thing to do if you have an interest in aviation, hang some airplanes from the ceiling. You have a whole bunch of planes, like maybe an air show scene. That would be, a really cool thing to have on a layout. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Sean, guess since the Challenger is down, do you have a Mikado 282 to run? We have a BNO from Bachman we love running. Okay. I'll try to run my Mikado. I mean, I think that one's unfortunately also broken, but I'm gonna try it. I feel bad you've put these super chats in and I haven't run anything. Just gotta find it. Find your layout very beautiful, SMT. Oh, I appreciate that. It's not for everyone. It's certainly not the most realistic, but it's exactly what I want. Okay, Mikado. I also said I was gonna run this custom one. I'm gonna run the Mikado first, but just gonna get this one out of here. There we go. There's no way it's that far. Well, wait a minute. I wonder if... Is a Mikado a 282 or a 262? Maybe this counts. I can't remember. Probably not. This is probably another one. 282. Darn it. Ah, there it is. Wow, this thing is really sending it tonight. I love this thing. All right, here it is for all the marbles. I really hope this thing starts up. I believe I did try to run it in a previous live stream and things were not going the greatest with it, but yeah, let's try it. Oh, yeah. So it's not the fastest Mikado out there, but there you go, Sean H. Yeah, something's definitely... The motor is running fine, and it's turning over, but there's something in the gearbox which is slipping really badly, so... Yeah, it's, you know, running at like 5... It's probably running at about 10,000 RPM, and putting out like 1 RPM. It's the 10,000 to 1 gear reduction. I think that must have been a special feature from the factory. Hey SMT, before I go, can you please run your Athena Canadian Pacific Centennial? Sure. All right, well, I think I'll take this one off because it's, otherwise we're going to be out here all night trying to keep it going, but, yeah, we'll get some other stuff on. Robert Campbell, thank you for yet another super chat of $50. This guy's, generosity knows no bounds. That's wild. Thank you. SMT, there were 2 NJT F42 cats in New Jersey. Erie had 1 heritage unit. Precision low-speed crawling feature. Yeah, that must be those engineers at Athearn. They must have spent day and night burning the midnight oil to put that together. Can you run the weird eBay hodgepodge that you painted bronze? Yeah. We'll run this thing, though. I don't know if this still works, but for anybody who doesn't know the backstory, I can't remember. I think I bought this at a train show as a kit, and then I painted it, and I put it all together one day. I didn't do a perfect job. This is the first kit I ever built. We'll see if it will run. Yeah, something's definitely unquartered, but it does work. Run a trolley, all right. Every time I run this little streetcar, Stompin' Tom's song TTC Skedattler comes on in my head. I think it just shorted. Greetings from Mexico. Do you have a working daylight of 611? Because I'd love to see her. I don't have 611. I do have a working daylight engine, though. What was I supposed to run after this? My memory's slipping on me again. I'll try to get one of my daylight locomotives going. I actually got this one running again recently. Maybe we'll run that. Oh, it looks like we got another super chat from Collerton. Colteron. I apologize if I'm not getting that right. But anyway, seeing a new video where you repair an engine brightens my day. But have you ever thought about weathering a broken engine and making it a scrapyard section? If I had the space, I would add a scrapyard section to my layout. But yeah, to answer your question on the weathering, I have given a distressed look to a locomotive I've repaired. I'll go digging through my collection. I'll see if I can find it. Happy Groundhog Day. I heard you guys do Groundhog Day in Canada, Groundhog Day here in PA. We did not see his shadow, so we're getting an early spring here. Well, I hope that turns out to be true. I didn't know today was Groundhog Day, actually, but yeah, I'd love for an early spring. I feel like most of the winters have been way too long, especially up in this part of the north. So I'm going to run this the other way because the other ones seem to run better that way too. Weathering, all you have to do is pickle your locomotive and get free weathering. That's right. Now, my weathering method is about as lazy as you could think. You take a spray paint can with matte finish paint and you just kind of dust the locomotive with that. And I find the results are pretty good. I mean, it's not very professional, but hey, it does get the job done. Okay, I have to remember what code this one is. Yeah, I mean, that engine's fine. Once again, the Bachmann engine does not fail to derail in the worst place possible. Okay. Do you have any iron ore trains? I'm going to see the iron ore range in Minnesota, and I want to model one in HO scale. I never found out about them. I know they sell those. I don't think I have anything like that, though. Super chat. Oh! Hello from Pittsburgh. I'm so glad we found your channel. I love finding and using old locomotives on my layout as well. Keep doing your thing. Thank you. SMT, I know this is a late message for me to ask, but how wide is the mystery track My locomotive is lying out. Oh, it's still about the track size. Yeah, I wish I knew. I still don't know what kind you're working with. I mean, it sounds like S scale to me, but yeah, I don't know. Please run the Seaboard System Switcher. Okay. Have you seen the TV show Arthur? Yeah, I used to watch that back when I was a kid. I think the switchers, it's probably around here. This is where, yeah, there we go. Well, I only just noticed now the suits of armor behind the railway. Yeah. Best defense in the world. If ever somebody breaks in here, I'll just climb inside one of those suits and I'll be able to fight off the intruder. Yeah, this does not seem to be the happiest seaboard coastline switcher there is, but it's definitely got a bad year. You can hear it hammering away as it runs around. Can you win the big boy? I already did the giveaway for the big boy locomotive. I went to this guy called Blue Drone. Your gears are cracked. Yeah, no kidding. SMT, whatever you do, do not get inside this suit. It might be a spring lock suit from Five Nights at Freddy's. I sure hope not. I have an Athearn Blue Box that keeps derailing in the elevated curves. Do you know why? I mean, there's a bunch of reasons that could be happening, but the main one is usually the side trucks catch on the frame when the truck swivels a bit, so check that out. Sometimes if you just trim away a bit of the plastic, it will work. How do you win the Rapido locomotives? Just leave a comment on the mystery box video. As long as it's savory, it's all good, and yeah, I'll have a chance to win that engine. Hopefully the giveaway will be in a couple days or something. Coppery mystery. Yes! Do you have Hot Wheels cars on your layout? No Hot Wheels cars. A lot of people do. I personally find they look out of scale. I think Hot Wheels is 1 in 64th scale, and HO is 1 in 87th, so I find they kind of stand out. I mean, I don't. If somebody wants to put Hot Wheels on their layout, all the power to them. I just personally find it doesn't look quite right. Correct, Harrison. Hot Wheels cars are 1 in 64th. I'm going to attempt to pick up those cars. Can you run a Santa Fe engine? Sure. Is there one in particular? Yeah, I mean the coupler on this is not the greatest I've seen, but oh yeah, I forgot this thing doesn't want to run in reverse. Should have just thrown this on the main line. Copper plate. It's a British unit. NKP 765. I don't have 765. The Royal Hudson. That, yeah, I forgot about that. That's the one I was supposed to run. Definitely make that happen. Harrison, what are your top 5 cars? Okay. 1969 Dodge Charger. 79 Oldsmobile Regency 98. What else would I throw in there? I don't know. I'll have to think about that for a moment. Probably BMW 3 Series. I like those. Oh, the Toyota Corolla. How could I forget? That's not a joke, by the way. Wow, this thing is shutting down a bit, I think. You can run an F unit of any color. Sure. Let me just get this thing operational. We'll throw that on the main line somewhere. I guess I need to clean the wheels on this engine. That's kind of weird. It's never stalled on me before. I love the Toyota Corolla. The Corollas are underrated. I know a lot of people would say that they're boring cars, and yeah, I mean, they're not very exciting, but they're darned reliable. If ever there was like an apocalypse kind of scenario, that's definitely the car I'd want to have. My family used to have one. It was great. My buddy, my best friend, used to have one, and he put that thing through hell in a handbasket, and it still kept running. So they've earned a soft spot in my heart. What controller do you use? I've got an MRC Tech 3 9500 series and a Digitrax DCS 51 and a Sound and Power 7000. Just wanted to make sure I'd remember to set the switches back there. Anyways, in terms of running F units, let me see what I can find here. I'm gonna try to run this thing. This is from my childhood. Had some pretty catastrophic failure. That was my fault because I ran this thing through ballast and it got sucked into the gearbox and it burnt out the decoder and the motor and stuff, and it still got that bad motor in it. It's definitely slightly shorted, but it's still running, so I guess we'll try to run it and see if it will still go. Yeah, I get the impression that that thing is shorted pretty bad. See, what's weird about this engine is that it will be struggling, and then all of a sudden the amp draw will drop and it will start running normal. So I've never seen a motor have a problem like that before. Yeah, see, there it goes. The amp draw just went right back to normal and it's acting fine, and then for some reason the current draw just goes super high again. So something's really wrong with it. Hey guys, a few months ago I got an HO steam locomotive that runs great, and an old CN diesel. It ran a little, but it won't run anymore. Do you know what it could be? Yeah, if you know what brand it is, that might be helpful. Can you run the HCW 909? Yeah. Plastic is for making models and bottles. It has no place in my car, though. Yeah, I agree with that. The more metal in a car, the better. Have you heard of the Iowa Northern Railroad? It's a Class 3 short line with a Canadian Pacific-inspired paint scheme. Do you have anything from Iowa Interstate or Iowa Northern? Not at the moment. I ordered another QJ locomotive, which I plan to turn into one of Iowa Interstate's engines, but that's about it for now. What's the best budget brand to buy from? I'd say Walters. I mean, you can get decent stuff from Bachman, but Walters is only slightly more expensive and the quality is way better in my opinion. Did you play any train games when you were younger? Yeah, I was huge into Trains with a Z when it came out on the iPad. I loved that game. I spent so many hours on it. And then later on, I got Railworks, which was decent. And then I also had Microsoft Train Simulator, which I think was the favorite of the three. It doesn't have the best graphics, but something about the way they mimic the weight of a train, to me, it just seemed quite realistic. I used to run that with my rail driver. Had a lot of fun with that. Ella and the Japanese or SRC Decapod SMT, can you run a brass steam engine? Yeah, sure. Let me go find one. Maybe my northern one. I also said I was gonna run the Hiawatha. I forgot about that too. Yeah. I have to bring a notepad down here. That way I stop forgetting things. I think for anyone looking to get into a cool train game, I highly recommend Derail Valley. I've never played Derail Valley, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I have seen gameplay. I mean, the truth is, ever since I started the channel here and kind of got back into model railroading, video games have kind of gone off to the side. I'll occasionally play some Grand Theft Auto, but that's about it. Usually copper coils have a coating. Whenever it overheats, it will come into shorting. Yeah, and that would make sense. The only thing that I don't understand is whenever I start running this engine, the current draw is super high, which means the motor is generating a lot of heat and then it goes away, which, like, that's not normal behavior for a motor. Usually when a motor is shorted, you put it on and then as it heats up, the problem becomes worse. And then, you get catastrophic failure where the whole coil burns out and the motor won't even work. But again, this thing, it has a problem when you first put it on and then it goes away. So something's really, really weird with this one. Do you like ACD? I love ACDC. What an awesome rock band. What's your opinion on electric cars? I'm personally not a huge fan of them. I mean, we'll have to see if the technology can go any further, but I'm skeptical it's the way of the future, I'll be honest. It's all because batteries don't tend to have the greatest energy density, and ion lithium batteries are some of the most dense already, so I'm skeptical they're going to be able to make them much better. But yeah, I'm not against electricity. Is a terrific form of energy. It's just batteries. Those are my problem with most things that are powered by them. Is batteries have a lot of problems. I don't understand too, like some cities are putting in electric trolleys that run off batteries. Like to me this seems way smarter, you know, you just draw it from a line, you don't have the weight of the battery. It's more efficient, it just seems smarter to me, but I'm no expert. Plus batteries go bad and can be damaged easily. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, there's a lot of people in the hobby and they're talking about, you know, making battery powered model trains. And the benefit there is that, you know, you could run multiple trains together and you don't have to worry about cleaning the track. And there's a whole variety of other advantages. But if they start coming out with those, I don't know if I'd want them. I mean, lithium batteries already kind of scare me a little bit because if they go wrong, they can really lay it up fast. And, yeah, they don't last very long either. I mean, you know, I bought some drill batteries once, ion lithiums, and they last about like 5 years. A better battery will last about 10, but I mean, that's not that great in my opinion. Favorite restaurant? Well, let's go favorite fast food restaurant because it's going to be something that everybody knows. Probably Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut or A&W. I like both those quite a bit. Subway's pretty decent. 10K for cars in California charging at night, more generators. Well, that's the other thing people are not talking about is like, you know, where are we going to get all the electricity to power these things? I mean, gasoline, you know, is making up a huge part of the grid. So if you just take that away, I don't really understand where you're going to develop that kind of energy, especially with, you know, solar power being unreliable and wind power being unreliable. I mean, hydroelectric is really good in my opinion, but you know, you can only build so many dams. So yeah, I really don't know where all that's going to go, but time's going to tell. I mean, the truth, people can say something's one way or the other, but eventually the truth is going to come around, and you know, there's going to be a point where people, you know, are going to decide whether or not, you know, electric cars are really practical things that are the way forward or not. AC/DC rocks, and I'm with you. I'm not a fan of electric cars. Mostly the same reason, but I'm 100 against self-driving cars. They are not safe and will put truck drivers' jobs at risk. Yeah, absolutely. I would not get in a self-driving car. They should put power dams inside power dams. You also like Tim Hortons. Yeah, Tim's is pretty good. Their quality's kind of gone down over the years, but I like a little thing, a little breakfast at Tim's. The thing that's nice about Tim's is that they're kind of like the last budget fast food restaurant. Like all the other ones are expensive, but you can go to Tim's and get yourself a coffee, some donuts, sandwich, pretty cheap. In my state, there's a pizza place called Pizza King, and they have a G-scale train that brings your drink. That's pretty cool. Sparky says, I want to get a self-driving car. I'll be able to make it to more train shows and then catch a nap. Apparently, Tim Hortons coffee recipe was sold to McDonald's something like a decade ago. That's the rumor. Some claim it's not true, but I remember the original Tim's coffee, and the McDonald's one does taste very similar, so it's totally possible. What's your view on politics or religion? I don't really talk about that kind of stuff on here. I mean, I suppose you could argue, you know, asking somebody's opinions about electric cars or whatnot are political, but I don't really like to, you know, to have that kind of discussion. It's just going to make people angry. SMT, can you run the 80-year-old Yellowstone later? I already ran it, and I think I might have messed it up, so I'll have to run some other things. Hello, SMT. SMT, I'm looking to buy 4 vintage model trains for $400. Is this a good deal with the seller or not? Well, it depends what they are. I mean, if they're brass, probably so. But if they're old Tycos and lifelikes, I doubt that's a good deal. Hi Harrison, I'm answering your question about the CN locomotive. I checked, it's a Lima, made in Italy. Could you please tell me how to get it running again? Okay, I would clean out the motor, probably clean the commutator, clean the gaps on the commutator. I'm guessing it's got one of those ring-field motors, which are prone to having issues. I might have a video where I worked on one of those, but yeah, we'll see. Contract for Timmy's Beans ran up and McDonald's picked it up. I mean, it's entirely possible. I searched that up one day and somebody said it was a myth, so I don't know. How's the new addition to the layout going? I think it's going quite well so far. I mean, I've been doing some testing. In fact, today I did a little renovation, which you can see right here. A lot of people didn't like the S-curve, and I was just like, yeah, let's get rid of it. So I straightened this out, and I think this looks a lot more tidy. Do you like history, SMT? Yeah, I do. I love digging up information on you know, the story behind things and stuff. I mean, you know, it's not every single part, and there is a lot of depressing history out there, but it's good to know. So I did like history in school, but yeah, I love doing research on, you know, old model railway companies or companies that existed in general. Companies that no longer exist, I love to research, you know, what made them fail. I find that stuff very not satisfying, but fascinating. Recently, I've been doing a lot of research on a shopping mall which used to be in Ohio. It was America's first super mall called Forest Fair Mall, and through that I've learned about the developer, who was George Herskew, and he was a big name in Australia in the 80s, and he came to the United States to try to set up this huge shopping center, and the story is just insane, and the more I find out about it, the more wild it gets. AC/DC, love the old bands, probably. Thank you, Harrison. I think it may be missing a conductor band. Might be the problem. Yeah, probably so. Love the History Channel. Don't know if you had that channel in Canada or not. Yeah, we had the History Channel. We haven't had, well, my family hasn't had cable TV for probably 10 years, but yeah, I do remember watching the History Channel. I used to watch this one series on the History Channel called Locomotion, and that was pretty good. My favorites are Nirvana and Foo Fighters. I like Nirvana too. I don't dislike the Foo Fighters. I just haven't really heard any of their songs. How long does it take to finish a video? In terms of time put into it, probably 10 hours. Most of the time when I'm finished filming, I have about 3 to 2 hours of raw footage. So, I mean, just to get through that the first time takes, well, about 3 hours. But sometimes there's a bit of preparation beforehand. Like if I'm working on, I don't know, let's say a River Rossi locomotive, I'll do some research on it and its history and just try to learn a little bit more about it. So there's a bit of homework beforehand, there's some production, and then there's a lot of editing. You know, in the earlier days of my channel, I didn't do a whole lot of editing. I'd kind of just put the clips together. Now I do a crazy amount of editing, and I think the videos look better, but it does take a lot more time to develop them. Hey Harrison, last chat, but I have a Santa Fe GP35. It's a blue bonnet. It's also an Athearn blue box. Nice. I'm going to the Great Train Show in Indiana. I'm excited because it's my first train show ever. Oh, you should be excited. I'm sure you'll love it. My favorite band is Guns N' Roses or AC/DC. Guns N' Roses is pretty good. I'm personally a huge fan of Aerosmith too. Kiss has got some great music, of course. But yeah, 80s rock. That's my favorite kind of music. I mean, there have been some good rock songs. This might not be a popular opinion with a lot of people, but I'm actually a fan of Nickelback. I think that they made some good music. I mean, I'm not saying by any means it stacks up to the older bands and stuff, but I do think they made some good music. When it comes to music, I can't live without Rush. Yeah, Rush has made some good stuff. It's kind of a cool Canadian success story there too. Queen, yeah. DM U2. I haven't heard a whole lot from U2. Yeah. Duran. In Excess, that's another good one. Do you watch the Fletch movie? No, I haven't seen that. By the way, if you're in Victoria, BC and looking for some HO scale train stuff, I wouldn't highly recommend that you go to BC Hobbies. Oh, how come? Love 80s rock. Sadly, though, I wasn't from the time period. Well, yeah, same here. Same here. I mean, I was born in 2001, so all that music was long created before I was around here, but I still like it. Hey, SMT, me and my dad are fans. We have some rolling stock that we thought you might be interested in. It includes an entire Spirit of 76 collection of Amtrak cars. Well, that sounds like some fun. Have you ever heard of the Canadian rock band Helix? Highly recommend listening to their stuff. I haven't heard of them, but I'd be willing to check it out. Nickelback rocks. They're doing it right. I don't understand why they got so much hate. You know, a lot of people like to make jokes about Nickelback, and they say that Nickelback's a bad band, but you know, I find their music's pretty good. And the other thing is too, you know, there have been a couple times where I've been at a party and somebody's handed me the aux cable and I've put on Nickelback songs and everybody likes it. You know, you can see they're enjoying the music. So it's like if they were rolling out bad songs, you get a bad reaction from everybody, you know, you just see it. So yeah, I don't know what all the complaining's about. Our strains, welcome. Do you like? Yeah, I like AC/DC. The Pet Shop Boys are they're okay. Downtown Toronto lost power and everyone still wants to go electric. I don't get it. Well, that would be my main concern, especially up here in the north where it's cold outside. You know, I've had some pretty bad power outages over the last few years, and we're blessed to have a gasoline generator, which, you know, I do the maintenance on, and all gasoline cars, and those have been a real godsend every time there's been a major weather event. Metallica. I haven't heard a lot. I like Metallica, but I haven't heard too many of their songs. How did you get into HO trains? I've been into trains my whole life, and when I was about 5 years old, my father took me over to my grandmother's house, and we dug through his original collection. He had a set when he was a kid, and then for that Christmas, I asked for a set, which kind of got me started, and I had some of his stuff, and that's where it all began. But it's kind of funny, like, between the family. Like, my dad was into model railroading, my grandmother was into model railroading, and then I have a de facto uncle who's also into model railroading. He has a bunch of Lionel stuff. So, yeah, between everybody in the family, got a lot of the train people there. That certainly helped. What's a good way to secure Bachmann Easy Track to a board? I thought Easy Track had little holes for screws that you could use. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I think a lot of people from Canada are into trains because of how vital they are to this country, especially in the earlier years. Yeah, I mean, maybe growing up with trains would get more people into the hobby. In my grandmother's case, I can't really say because she's from England and that's where her train set was. So, but I mean, I guess you could make the same argument for England. Like they've got a lot of railroad history there. The British, as far as I'm concerned, too, are one of the best steam locomotive builders in terms of speed. Hey, SMT, have you heard of the underrated Minnesota railroad, the DMIR? I actually have. The Iron Range is personally my favorite railroad. You should check it out if you don't know about it. Like, I don't know an insane amount about it, but there's a guy in the model railroading kind of YouTube community, and that's the railroad he models, so I've kind of seen some stuff about that through him. Have you heard the song Free Bird, remixed by Leonard Skinner? I haven't heard the remix, but I've heard the original one. My best buddy, he was a huge fan of that song. Always be playing it. It's kind of funny recently how much of a meme that's turned into. For sure, England invented the railways. That's true. That's true. The Stephenson's rocket. Hi, Harrison. I meant to say I would highly recommend BC Hobbies. They're in Victoria, BC. I think you would have an absolute blast there. All right, well, keep that in mind. I'm glad it's on the positive side of things. When I saw the wooden, I was like, uh-oh, what did they do? How old's your girlfriend? She's 20 on the nose. SMT, why were 2000s Athearn Genesis locomotives, why do they have a bad reputation? I don't know. I'm back. This is the first time I'm hearing about that reputation. I know that in the early 2000s, Genesis or Athearn was moving their production out to China, so I don't know if those Genesis models were maybe, the first models Athearn was making in China, and they were just having some quality control issues. That'd be my guess, but I'm just speculating. Officer Freebird was playing "You're Going 91 in a School Zone" in a Saab 93. Yeah, SMT, I'll have a look on eBay for the blue box parts, but they were expensive. Yeah, the good news with blue box engines, though, is that if you buy an engine that's about the same age, even if it's a junker, it probably uses the same parts. Athearn did a lot of parts sharing, even between different styles of locomotives. Like, the gears generally were the same, and a lot of the other parts were the same. So, yeah, the good news there is that you can share parts. I'd still like to see a video about how to transform a locomotive into a dummy unit. Or, sorry, the other way around. I would like to see a video about how to transform a dummy unit into a real locomotive. I know you can do it. There's a video somewhere on the channel. I don't remember what it was called, but I actually did do that with that one back there. With the Athearn, with some brands it would be difficult. With the Athearns, it's really easy because, again, Athearn was sharing parts. So their dummy engines, the only difference was that they didn't have a motor, gears, and they had plastic wheels. But the chassis, it even still has some of the electrical system in the dummy units, so they're super easy to convert. What track do you suggest we use? Code 100 nickel silver. That's the best money can buy. In terms of brands, I personally use Pico and Atlas. I'm not aware of too many others out there. Well, I mean, I know there's like Kato Unitrack and stuff, but yeah, Code 100 is nice. It's a thicker rail, which means you can run older locomotives on it. And nickel silver is nice because it's a good metal. It is better than brass. I mean, brass will get the job done, but you won't have to clean the nickel silver track, and it will be a little bit more reliable. Can you run the 777s? Yeah, sure. It'll probably be the final train of the night because it's past 11 o'clock and I don't want to keep everybody upstairs awake, but yeah, we can run the 777 here. Have you ever heard the great Gordon Lightfoot song, the Canadian Railroad Trilogy? No, actually I haven't. I've heard all the railroad songs by this guy who lives, well, he used to live in Smith Falls. He's a local artist called Freddie Dixon. He made a bunch of songs about the railroads, which I quite like. And of course, you got famous people like Johnny Cash. Made a bunch of different railroad songs. Those are all pretty good. Boxcar Willie, there's a bunch of good ones from him too. I think the Grateful Dead made a song about Casey Jones too. Although that was way different than than anything that Johnny Cash was making, that's for sure. Hey SMT, I'm sorry that I said some words wrong. I meant to say I'm part of a train club in Kokomo, Indiana, and every Sunday I have a meeting free run. Oh, that's all good. I was just making a bit of a joke because I just think it's funny having a train club in Kokomo. SMT, do you think it's possible to add DCC to a Tyco turbo train? It would be hard. The main problem I see is that it uses a 3-pole motor, so you need to adjust the CVs, but moreover, the Tyco turbo train, I mean, it's designed off a slot car chassis, so you can't run it on a regular layout because the second it encounters a switch, the frame sits lower than the track, so it will snag on switches, and it's held down to the track with magnets, and most people use nickel silver or brass track. Very few people use steel track, so without those magnets, the 2 contact slot car strips push the whole chassis up. I know that Darth Santa Fe made a video on how to repower a Tyco turbo train, and frankly a repower would probably be the best way to convert one to DCC. So I don't think it's impossible. You just have to be very creative. Top 3 railroads. Let's go Canadian Pacific, Kansas City Southern, Canadian National, and BNSF. I saw the Grateful Dead around 75, but I never caught them playing Casey Jones. They played it on SNL in 1978. That's cool. Do you like baseball? Yeah, I've been to a couple baseball games. I used to play it back in high school. I mean, it was a very casual thing they had going on there, but I like sports, but I'm not super into it. I'm more into mechanical stuff and things like that. What is rickrolling? Rickrolling is where you send somebody a link to Never Gonna Give You Up by Marvin Astley, is that his name? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, you send them a link and you say, "Oh, have you seen this new video of you know, so and so doing something?" And you send them a link, and then you trick them into watching the song. Rick Ashley. SMT, how do you reduce gear noise? Graphite spray? I've never used graphite to try to reduce gear noise. You probably adding like some label grease. That might help it a little bit, because I think most of the time when gears are being loud, it's either because they're not lubricated or it's because they're worn out. So if you put a thicker oil, it might compensate for the wear in the gears, kind of like, you know, how an old engine, you add a thicker oil to stop it from ticking. That might work, but I'm no expert on reducing noise. I like getting engines going, but I have some horribly noisy engines. Anyways, I think I better finish off this live stream before someone comes knocking down here for me to turn it off. But it's not Marvin, it's Rick. I knew I got something wrong there. I was thinking of the Family Guy skit. They did a whole mockery of that. But anyways, yeah, I think I'll finish off the stream. Thanks so much for stopping by, everyone. I really do appreciate all the support and comments and super chats. And I had a lot of fun running trains tonight, and I hope you all did too. Anyways, I think I'll finish it off there. Have a great night, everyone.